flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Cox? Mr. Girding?
Here.
Mr. Hill?
Here.
Mr. Decker?
Here.
Mr. Zakowitz?
Here.
Mrs. Zavala? She's here.
Sherry. You here, Sherry?
I'll work on it. Mr. Ward?
Here.
Mr. Chafee?
Here. Okay, action on the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 20th, 21 as posted.
Second.
Oh,
Yeah, June 1st.
June 1st.
You gotta use a new sheet. There you go.
Mr. Girding?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Decker?
Yep.
Mr. Zakowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Zavala? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay. Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Motion carries.
No bids tonight. Public comment. Anybody want to talk about agenda items?
Can you hear us?
Good.
Okay.
Give me your name and your,
My name is Fran Keller, and I live at 118 Congressional Lane. And I listened to the minutes of the meeting last time you had a meeting, and there was a lady that got up and you were talking about recycling, and she said no one was interested in it. And I took exception to that because, first of all, she didn't ask me or any of our neighbors. So I asked all the people that live on Congressional, Firestone Court, Quaker Ridge, Pinehurst, Village of Seven Oaks, and Muirfield. And everyone, other than people that I could not get a hold of, were in favor of the recycling. And in Muirfield, there are several elderly people who said they really wanted to recycle, and they can't, just take their recycling stuff anywhere. So they end up throwing it out. And they said they really feel bad about that. And so I know we're gonna be talking about recycling, and I just wanted council to know that there are people, I have over 50 yeses. And the ones that I couldn't get a hold of were not home. I did not get any no's.
what we're looking into from Young's, who's our refuge provider now, what recycling would cost in the borough versus doing it like we're doing right now. So we're still waiting on him to get us some pricing back before we go anywhere with this.
I understand that. And the other thing that people were saying to me, the very first thing that comes out of their mouth is they were surprised that we're not recycling. And to bring the stuff down to the borough building sometimes is completely full, so they end up taking their stuff back home, either taking it down to Brady's Run or throwing it out. And everybody says, I feel really guilty about throwing it out. And so I just wanted to let council know that there are, other people that really want this. And so that whenever any decision is made, to know that there are people other than the lady that said nobody's interested in it.
What are the things that you wanna recycle?
I want to, right now, I take my newspapers and my cardboard to the fire station, the little fire station on Dutch Ridge. And I take all my other things down to Beaver Falls to my brother. They recycle every 2 weeks. So
What are those items you're
Uh,
taking to Beaver Falls?
I take pop cans, plastic water bottles. I take, like the empty Tide detergent, Downy, everything else. all those things I take down so that he gets it every 2 weeks.
Well, some of the things we're looking into, because there's probably as many people that want it as don't want it. So that's why we're looking into doing away with the bins and doing it as individual. So as far as a refuge bill. So we're looking into some options with Mr. Young as far as, does it have to be the whole community, parts of the community, or he'll do it as individuals. So that's what we're looking into. So until we get more information, you know, that's where we're at right now. We'll keep having the bins there until we figure
But the
something out.
problem is, those bins are too small. And if everybody, I have at least 54 people that said yes. And if 54 people come down here and it's full,
Well, the problem with this is it costs quite a bit of money to recycle. And there's probably 54 people I can find right now that don't wanna pay to recycle. So
But
that's
then-
where we're at right now. So that's why we're looking into, if you wanna recycle, Mr. Youngs has that as an option, and you can recycle. You pick it up with your garbage.
Well, as a council person, I wanna go on record, I'm in favor of recycling for the future. I have great grandkids already, and, I see what's happening all over the world, and, I'm in favor of it. I mean, we have to do it for the environment and for the future too. I mean, besides the cost. I mean, that's the way I look at it, cause we recycle, we always have. We compost, we always have recycled, my family has forever.
Well, I think more of the issue is not whether to recycle or not to recycle, it's who's paying for recycling.
Right, that's,
So, and that's my personal thing is you wanna recycle, and that's an option for our garbage hauler, and you wanna pay for it, great, recycle, it doesn't matter to me. The problem I have is making everybody in the borough pay for you to recycle. That's the issue I have. So that's what we're looking into going forward.
and
I'm
that's,
saying whether or not there's recycling, it's who's gonna pay to recycle.
and that's
Well,
why the bins, that's why we have those 2 bins. I mean, we had a recycle trailer. I think we're about the same capacity with the 2 bins that we were with the recycle trailer. But, it is, if we added another bin, it would be at the point where it would be too expensive for taxpayers as a whole to pay for recycling throughout the borough. So as soon as we hear from Young's Refuse about what they would be willing to do as curbside pickup, which I think if people wanna recycle, that they would be willing to pay that, whatever it would be, to have it curbside, especially you know, people that, don't make it out and about that often. You know, they could just put it out with the regular garbage.
well,
I would imagine that would be a substantial increase in your garbage bill as well.
but it's worth it.
And that's fine, and like I said,
You
until we
know.
find out, I really can't give you any more of an answer than that on what we're gonna go with recycling.
We've asked him to give us a price or his thoughts on having the curbside pickup. A lot of times when that happens in a community, they want the whole community to participate. Because if only half the borough were to want curbside pickup for recycling, it might not be in their best interest to take the time to go around to those different houses. Cause you might have 2 houses and then have to go 2 miles before you had other houses that had recycling,
Like I said, 54 people
right?
in our subdivision want it. They
Well,
really,
that's something we can look into. You
Yeah.
know, if
We
he
really
wants to go
want
to
it.
Seven Oaks and
Yeah.
do that route, and everybody up there wants to pay for it, that's fine. But
Yeah.
and I'm sure there's nobody that's gonna complain about having to
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
with
Right.
garbage, you
Pam's
know.
gonna complain.
I don't want it
She's
coming
sitting
out
right
of,
behind you.
first off, I'm paying the taxes here for the borough, I don't wanna pay it out of my pocket if I'm not doing it. I mean, if it's gonna be in my garbage bill, yes, I will recycle,
We just don't have
But-
the
We don't have
information
enough
from,
answers.
we
I
don't,
don't wanna pay $10-15 extra a
Right.
month.
we just don't have the information from, that we need yet to make that decision.
All right, anybody else? All right, let's move on. Reports of councils, public works, Mr. Durgan.
Okay. The guys been patching roads, they're pretty caught up on roadside mowing. Everything else they've got mowed, the block 57, ball fields, fire departments. They put up 4x4s for the cameras at block 57. Clean up slag and dirt from the rains, patching roads on Fredericktown, and they started berming Wildwood Extension, which I don't know, I think they finished that up today, Wildwood Extension. Getting ready for chipping and oiling in later in the summer. Cutting down, just, stuff from storms, trees down. And then, we need tires for our 2012 truck. So I have 3 prices. That's the pickup truck. Standard tire is $864. B&B tire is $703.54, and Tim Newton is $580.
Who's Tim Newton?
That's just where he gave me the price. I've had prices from he's been on the list before, that person.
Really?
Yeah. If we've been getting most of our tires from that D&B tire. They've been seeming to be the cheapest. But I don't ever remember buying tires from Tim Newton either. But I have seen that on the list.
Seems like a big price difference. I'm just concerned he's not comparing apples and apples.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same.
I mean, it's a big price. I mean, big.
Yeah. The V&D.
I would imagine D&B and Scander are probably right around the same tire.
Well, let's do this then. Can we get some more information? It's not like it needs tires today.
Right.
We can wait till next meeting. So once
Okay.
you dig into that a little bit more, make sure we're comparing like quality.
Same exact tire.
And then we'll go from there next meeting.
Okay. Also, I had an application from a fella named Bob Chafee that, do we talk about that right now? Does that have to be like, okay. He's working, kind of part-time, driving truck, and he was interested in helping out the borough part-time, and we do need a guy to help out. So it would be 2, maybe 3 days a week. Especially now, Berman roads, and then when we start oiling and chipping, because he can drive the trucks. So I would ask for a motion to hire Bob Chafee
Part-time help.
as part-time help for the borough.
CEO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
Yes.
I'll second.
Mr. Girding?
yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Zakowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Zavala? Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Call an executive session for personal matters.
Yeah, I would like to call an executive session for personnel matters.
Hi, Sherry. I got a little sun on my face today.
It's 'cause she's at the beach.
How do I get my teeth?
Don't hurt your hand.
Yeah, not now.
I was like, you're scraping on next. So I haven't looked at it yet how far it is.
I just put on a map. It's been a while. Looks like, I don't know if you've ever been to Zilio. It looks like about twice the distance from here to Zilio.
So I'll just see, I'll let you know what time. So the meeting starts at 4. I want to plan on being there like 3:30. It's going to arrival time. It's on the same side, so, I mean, because I have a dress that fits me. To try my own this weekend. I was a little worried, but I found something. We have a wedding to go to on
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah.
Me and my dad were going together, so.
God, you know, I've been in jeans for so long. If I have to like go to a funeral or, you know, a wedding, I'm just like, oh crap.
I know.
I have to just go buy something, yeah.
And then in West Virginia, and then in Maryland, and then back to.
And then it's like, you know, all my thoughts were you know, back in the office days, so I thought, you know, I think, well, that's not really appropriate for it. I gotta like change my thinking and, you know, what kind of clothes does an old lady wear?
It's regulated at 70 miles an hour, so you can't make up any time.
I think I'm ready.
Pulling out of Pleasant View, there was, it looked like an Ohioville police car with two policemen in it, and behind them the sheriff's
We used
car.
to go,
And they went straight on Don Cusco. You didn't see anything down there, huh?
it was like,
Well,
hop
I
in the car
went
Friday
to
night,
church tonight,
I
so
did
I was
Home's
over
on
on
Saturday,
Pleasant
Sunday
View,
morning, drive
and
back.
I come up, I live in New Pleasant View all the way up. So, when would you tell whenever you're coming to the meeting?
Yeah.
Cause I left the house
He's
around.
here, so I don't know what that was about.
Like 11 hours
Give you one last.
a day. Everybody's back here, you do what you gotta do.
I wanna see, first, I wanna see them do the recycling where they do it for, I'll even get the garbage. You know, I just burn my papers. I don't really personally care about recycling, but I bring it up here to get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Then you don't wear it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I get rid of 10 cans of things. And, but each person has their own point.
Yeah.
So I hate to see them like, you know, force, the garbage service on people, you know, I hate to see more of that service.
Yeah, I hope the price is reasonable. You know, it's nice that if somebody wants to,
Yeah.
you know, that it's available to them.
Yeah.
And if they're actually gonna do it, they've been saying that, you know, it all just goes in landfill anyways.
Yeah, that's what they say, yeah, so,
Yeah.
you know, it's absolutely true or not.
Yeah.
I know, they mentioned, I've heard this, I suppose you have too, that the whole recycling idea costs money rather than saves money.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so people think, well, you know, in fact, when I first started that kind of thing, I did some glass recycling thing. I'm thinking, I'm going through all this work, I'm helping the guy who's making the glass. You know, that's the only person who could possibly benefit from this.
Yeah.
So I give up on that idea. That
Yeah.
was years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes sense.
He does, he really does. You know, he takes time to explain things.
Yeah.
You know,
Driveway, I'm done, you just need to be on the road.
I always thought it was good.
Isn't that something, you know, I was trying to think of, it's like,
And then I would do the part.
a phrase, oh, you never want to drink water until the well runs dry.
You wanna what?
You never want to drink the water until the well runs dry.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a counselor, it's like, you start looking at the side of it. Fought him tooth and nail for, 2 years.
He just wasn't so resistant.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, that just burned him. You know, he burned himself with that.
Yeah. Well, then you do.
Wanting to, you know, not wanting to, and he had said,
One here. Oh, I'd like one of those because, you know, if you have like a 6-7-month-old, you need just little.
Does it fix it?
Yeah, then for maybe like a 2-year, 1 to 2 year old, you need like the bigger thing. Bring it to someone that's handicapped in the community, you know?
Do you ever go out to Calcutta?
I do.
One day I was coming out of the bank.
Well, don't even like to drive.
First time going.
Yeah, that's, yeah, like the one that's showing her, it's
Okay.
100, no.
And someone walked in with a mask on. They said, you know, hello, I just want to know. It sounded like your voice.
It wasn't me.
Okay. Because I've been on my mind ever since. I thought, what if it was just 10 hours? It's a different, identical voice to it with a mask. I didn't know. It was like,
I keep saying, I'm seeing, I'm sure that.
You're not even paying attention.
She didn't even say hello to me, but with those masks on, you really can't. I think just how much, just that cover changes someone's opinion.
I mean, you're my brother. I just don't know. You know, they're talking for 20 minutes.
No, it wasn't. Oh, and you said hi.
I was just saying, that was nice. I mean, it felt good.
Alright, call the meeting back to order.
Okay, I would like to ask for a motion to increase our summer help Pete Zabala to 40 hours a week with a pay increase from $11 an hour to $14 an hour.
Second.
Mr. Girding?
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Zakowitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Avila,
I'm going to abstain.
and Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, finance and office, Mr. Hill.
As far as finance, really Brenna's got a few things that she's working on, trying to get everything lined up. Having everybody keep an eye on the budget, make sure you go over your numbers, look at stuff. I think we're going okay, so just keep doing what we're doing and pay attention.
Okay, legislative, Mr. Sackler.
Under legislative, the only thing I have talked about, Talk 57 with the forward center, something come up with a fish commission. Ohioville could possibly issue launch permits for anybody using that facility. Shipping Board did it, there's other public facilities that can do it. They'll have to offset the cost of any maintenance or anything down there.
So how do you manage that, control it?
The fishing boat, they said, the best thing to do is talk to Shipping Board, how they did it. They issued the permits there. And that's, like the state, has the permits, different states like DCNR, Brady's Run. The county has launch permits for Brady's Run Park.
So would this be for anything you launch down there?
Well, they go by size of the boats too. Like kayaks, rowboats, stuff like that, usually like a $10 fee. The other ones start like from 16 feet up to 26, go up like $25, stuff like that.
So who would enforce this then?
The local police, that's what they did over Shipping Port.
Let me ask a couple of questions. Who did you speak to? It was someone from what organization?
Fishing Boat.
And is that an officer that was down there?
Yeah.
Or is it, okay. Here's my concern, and I just want to lay it out here, is as you know, that park was put in with various grants.
Right.
And each of the agencies that put grant money into it, they had certain stipulations and signage that had to be up, and in fact, I remember years ago, before there was electric down there, I remember one of the fishing boat people saying that, hey, you guys shouldn't be locking it up, and at that time, I remember it was locked up because it was a safety issue. It was dark down there. You didn't want someone to, get abducted down there or whatever. And I said, they did that for safety reasons, and while that individual may have an idea that, hey, that should be open all year round, 24/7, the council, made a decision there for safety reasons. What I'm getting at is each of these agencies that contributed money by way of the grant have certain regulations here, such as it must be open to the general public. It must be, there must be signs saying that they contributed that money. There has to be open so much during the year. What I'm worried about, and anyone can look into this, that's fine, but I don't know the individual that you talked to, whether he has authority to speak for that organization or his personal opinion, nor looking at Shipping Port, what they did. I don't know that they were funded the same way. I don't know that they have the same documents. So my caution here is just, I don't want you to run afoul of any of the terms of the grants that you receive from those organizations. So before you would pursue a launch fee or charging any fee for that use of that park, I would suggest that you check with the actual organizations that contributed grant money, and we can look through the terms of the grants. Sometimes there's things in there we don't want to run afoul. That's
Pennsylvania Fishing Boat was $192K. Pennsylvania DCNR, Kathy Frank. I'll talk to Kathy Franco. She knows cause she's, BADCNR.
Well, here's some of the
I,
things.
hold on, I wanna say this, is that we don't charge for our parks and stuff like that. We've done a pretty nice job of that and being able to do that and offer that to our community. I don't see any reason to charge you to go put your kayak in the river.
Well, the one thing I'm concerned about too is, you know, it always sounds good if you're gonna make money, but what's it cost you to make that money?
Yeah.
So now we have to have an officer down there all weekend monitoring who's putting a boat in, that's a lot of money. If we're not getting that money
And
back,
I mean, like, he's gonna cite them, like,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
then, and then that's
I
gonna
mean-
that's gonna cost more than the $15 that you're gonna get from them.
If you're willing to look into it, John, I mean, and get us some more information, I mean, I'm sure we'll be all glad to take a
Like I
look
said,
at it.
now they
But There's a
rent-
lot of,
They rent the pavilion down at the ball field.
My opinion is that you're, yeah, I don't know, we don't. I got it.
Cause there are different places up the Allegheny that we paid to launch, so.
alright,
You
well,
know
like I
what's
said, if
real
you
nice
wanna,
about a Highville? You don't have to pay.
well, here's my opinion. If you wanna look into it, John, and get some more facts, you know, like I said, you know, how much money we're talking about for revenue, how much we're gonna need to enforce it, if it's any conflict with what we got to establish the park, that's the stuff we
Has
need. to
anybody checked the lights down there lately at night?
No.
My wife's been in the hospital, so I'm not down there, I haven't been down through the night.
Eric, you leave a note for whoever's working nights tonight, tell them, check on that, please.
Did you ever hear back, Brenna, from, Duquesne Night?
I submitted a formal request.
I know, that's 2 months ago, like, too, yeah.
See what you can find out, Eric, whoever's working tonight. Alright, anything else for legislative, John?
No, that's the only thing.
How about public
So,
utilities?
same thing here.
Alright, public safety, Denise, leave anything?
No.
Alright. Nothing for fire, I'll read her little thing here, nothing for fire tonight. Police committee. Additional cost of the body camera equipment, and we talked about this last meeting, came way in under what we initially quoted, it was $4,620. So we'll need a motion to pay the cost of that.
So moved.
Mr. Garding,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Decker,
Yes.
Mr. Zakowitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Zavala,
Yes.
Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and the other thing is, the cameras are up at Lock 57 and working, I assume, well. So, we'll authorize final payment on that project. So, need a motion to, finish final payment for the cameras at Lock 57.
We'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Garding,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Decker,
I asked, is this what on the bill was here? Okay, yes.
Mr. Zakowitz,
Yes.
Mrs. Zavala,
Yes.
and Mr. Ward.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, nothing else for public safety. Recreation, Mrs. Zabala.
The last meeting, we talked about some things that needed to be done with the ball fields, the pavilion field. So, I've got some calls out and, we're getting some bids in as to what it's going to cost, what it's gonna cost for the certain work, that we need done with the electrical and, the cement work on the, smaller pavilion. So I will know more once we get, all of these submitted. We'll go from there. That's all I have.
All right, well, one thing additional is we've been looking into getting a little bit of complaints down Lock 57 about that handicap toilet down there. It's got the holding tank is,
I couldn't hear you.
well, I love these Zoom things. We've been getting some complaints about the handicap porta potty down at Lock 57. And part of the problem is the holding tank is about half the size of the regular one. So a good solution, I feel, for as much as we need that down there, is to put a regular, porta-john down there alongside the handicap one. For 4 months, the rental on that's $120 a month. So if we keep it down there 3-4 months, you're talking about $500. And as much as that thing gets used, that park gets used, I think it's a very good option for a few months to keep that thing down there.
Has anybody ever got a price on having somebody come in and clean the existing bathrooms down there?
John, you know the existing bathroom issues, right?
Have somebody clean it.
Your price, man, let us know.
Are they gonna come every day and do it? Cause
Depends
if
how-
they clean it on a Sunday and somebody goes in there and does some painting on Sunday, then you got a whole week. You gotta use the porta johns.
And Brenda said that the Turner toilets, they're pretty
Yeah,
good about when you call them, if there's an issue like that, it being full, that they're right out.
I think we stick with the porta johns, and it frees up our personnel from having to go down there.
Well, I think what John's saying is having an outside company come in and clean it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like they come in and clean it here.
If you wanna look into that, John, get a price on having them come down there a couple days a week, 3 days a week, see what it's gonna cost.
Right.
I've got opposition to looking into that, but I think for right now, putting another regular porta potty down there may save a little bit of issues with this thing being filled up quickly. What do you guys think?
My vote is porta john.
Well, that's all we're talking about.
You want the motion or what?
That's what I'm saying. Anybody?
I will make the motion to put an additional porta john at Lock 57 at an additional cost of $125. What was the time frame?
We're looking like 3-4 months.
$125 a month.
Yes, for the next 4 months.
Second,
Mr. Girding?
yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Zakowitz?
No.
Mrs. Zavala? Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, anything else for rec? Okay. Sports officers, anything, Rick?
Only thing I have is about the fire station. I've got some prices for the whole building. It's 160 by 100. And for the building, the floor, doors, cement floor, 16-foot apron, the wrapped building, which means it's got insulated and liner inside. Finished drywall in the office spaces. He's saying it's around 300,000. The prices are crazy right now. He said they go up and down. That would not include any of the plumbing, electrical, or heat. He can quote that, but he thought if we had local people, we might want to use them and ask them if they want to do it, or he can get someone or whoever he uses, and then you would have engineering costs. So think about it. Let me know what you think. If you put it in perspective, that's cheaper than a new truck.
Yeah, but that's not the cost though. You got 300,000 for the building, you got site prep work, you got electric run into that, you got plumbing run into that, you got floor finishes in there.
Well, this is right. He has all the stuff. He just wanted to get me something so I can.
So you're looking at probably $500,000.
No, I don't think that.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
For the secretary treasurer?
Report was submitted for the month ending May 31st, 2021.
Need a motion for that?
I will make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for the month ending May 31st, 2021.
Second,
Mr. Girding?
yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Decker?
Yeah.
Mr. Zakowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Zavala?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, from planning, we got the approval for the Troutman subdivision.
This needs to be signed.
Just needs to be signed.
Consolidation plan needs the approval of council clerk to sign.
There's one out there on Lisbon Road.
Make the motion to sign the Troutman plan subdivision, or, Troutman plan approval.
Second.
Mr. Girding?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Zakowitz? Okay, Mrs. Zabala?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, nothing from the emergency coordinator, or solicitor, Mr. Steph.
So I have two items. One was the police policy for body cameras that I was working on with the chief. I've sent that along to the chief and got his approval of the language that we had there. So I've forwarded it on to the police committee chair to look at, and should probably have that ready for adoption at the next council meeting. And secondly, I know I had spoken before of discussing the reassessment with the assistant county solicitor, and I did have an opportunity to meet up with him, and as you know, it was in the paper recently that the whole process is technically delayed a year due to lag time they had facing COVID and such. His understanding was that, well, number one, I mean, direct everyone to the county website, which had materials there. But the status is still said to be that when they come around to the communities, that the company that's doing that is supposedly going to contact the borough office and the police to tell people that they're in the area. I do not have a status as to how much of the county has been done or which communities. You can imagine that a rural community will be handled you know, in maybe a different time frame than when they're doing more urban settings. It's my understanding that it's not likely that in a rural community here that there's going to be really door-to-door contact. A lot of it is done by from the roadway, or whether it's that or aerial views. But that's what I'm told here. I just wanted to report that I met with the assistant county solicitor, and it is still supposed to be that you will get some notice when they are in your area, and things have been delayed, so they're running a little behind.
So just, anybody interested, either keep on the county site or go on our website, and when it gets any notification that they're gonna start, put it on the website. Okay, borough engineer.
Just two things this past month. Troutman lot consolidation. We had no objections to the material submitted. And the second thing was the bond request for Seven Oaks. That letter went out on May 25th. It was missing several items that we have yet to see back from Seven Oaks. So once we get that back, we'll do a second review and report back.
You can get hold of John. I know he's on vacation, but I'd like us, like you guys, to keep an eye on what's going on over there. So once in a while, maybe John can swing by and make sure they're not overstepping their boundary on what we've got permits for right now.
Yeah, they're subject to inspections, so I think it's the borough's discretion when those inspections occur. So for sure.
Just make sure John keeps an eye on it.
Okay.
All right. Anything from the SEO? Tax collector. Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, so far this year, year to date, we've collected $579,902.22. We have 417 parcels that are unpaid, for a total of $93,422.52 outstanding. And they got till the end of December to pay those before we turn it over to tax claims. So most of that will come in. We usually turn over 30,000, 40,000 over to tax claims. So we're in good shape.
Good. And Bill brought us some paperwork tonight that some of the boroughs in the county have been looking into this other cheaper. And if it's being used by a lot of other boroughs in the county, townships, may be something we need to look into a little bit, so. We'll look into it and hopefully have some information for next meeting for everybody.
Expand on that a little bit. Just for your information for the, community, your tax bills, the appearance of your tax bills probably won't change. Any, like, re-bills, your new bills you get, or additional, like additions or, anything like that, the bill might look a little bit different. Reports will look different from the borough, because of different company. What happened was the company that the computer company that had our tax bills for most of the communities in Beaver County for like 30 years, the guy just closed his business without warning. It was 30 days notice he was closing his tax collection computer program. We still have access to the program, it's not being updated or anything, so we're all forced to get a new tax program company. And we've been looking at different ones, 3 or 4 different companies that provide that service. And it seems like everybody's going to this one. It's called RAK. There's another one out there that some may be going to, but you won't see much change as far as the residents. It'll just be a little bit different reports, and maybe you're like if you ask for a reprint of your bill, it might look a little different than the original. But other than that, and it's cheaper than the company we're currently using. So.
All right. Any unfinished business? Action on the bills.
Motion, bill list, present bill list number 10 be paid.
Second.
Mr. Girding?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Decker?
No.
Mr. Zakowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Zavala?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, no ordinance or resolutions, no communications tonight. Any new business? Okay, public comment. No one's talk, stand up, give me your name. One once. Okay, ask for adjournment.
I did it. I think John needs to.